Hey guys, here's the gear. A few more days in 31 shaves with Midnight Stag, and the dots, and I believe they're accurate this time. 470 will be the count after today's use. This is the 470th use of the Nacet blade. Cheer. I'm going to put it in the Timeless Open Comb stainless steel 68 gap razor. Taj handled Semogue Owners Club. He's been kind of soaking for a little while. I didn't actually have my little soak cup handy. And so, what I did was I got him really wet and I just laid him on the sink sideways with the brush tips kind of draining down into the sink. I believe that is going to be good enough. And then, of course, the scent stuff for all of the items. The soap, splash, the cologne is Chiseled Face Midnight Stag. We will be using a bowl today, as is my custom, but along with my little soaking cup went my bowl. I got a feeling it's back in my room, and I just don't feel like going to get it. So why don't we do something a little different. This is the Santa Fe bowl from the Dollar Tree. And if you're thinking about whether maybe a lather bowl might be for you, I strongly encourage you to find a bowl like this either in your kitchen or head to the Dollar Tree here in the US and get one. 5.5 inches, 6 inches in diameter, and you can see it tapers down just a little bit as it goes to the bottom. I think this is really a great tool that can give you an idea if you're going to be a person who likes to use a lather bowl or not. So I'm going to get my face wet, prep for the shave. But actually, before I do that, let us put the blade in the razor. There's the N for Nacet 1, the first Nacet. Not the first Nacet I've ever used, but the first marathon Nacet that I'm really using here. Will I do another one someday? That's a good question. I kind of feel like this one is enough, right? Because I feel sure he's going to make it to 500 uses, probably beyond. So I have been using Nacets as I take breaks from this blade, but I only run them up to 10 or 20 uses before I pitch them. This is my marathon Nacet. And now that the blade is in place, getting my face wet. All right, and of course this bowl doesn't have any of those ridges that my fancy 3D printed bowl does. But you see it does have some angling near the bottom. And I've always said, after I played around with this kind of bowl versus the others, the ridges are a plus. The texturing, that's a plus. But honestly, this is going to put together a great lather as well. And for $1, can you beat it? This one is kind of deep. It's deeper than my other bowl, and so sometimes with this one, my fingers do get a little more soapy. I was looking at this earlier, and I think I might actually be getting in the center here down to the bottom of the tub. I did start this soap after someone else had used it for at least a month, and so I haven't run this whole soap out, but this is still the closest I've ever come to using a soap all the way up. So I'm going to shake most of the water out. Since we're showing a new bowl and its use, why don't we do my standard kind of setup that I've been doing for a lot of the month. 10 swirls. Shake some of the water out and then show you that it just doesn't look like there's too much soap on there, does it? But there is. So the bristles, I believe, are what's causing the agitation as they interact with each other. As you can see, it's already, just like my other bowl, it's already given us some good lather. In a way, I like it better than the 3D printed bowl because this has a more pleasing sound. The 3D printed bowl is a little hollow because of the way the 3D printing works. And this one doesn't have that hollowy noise. But that's kind of the only weakness of that 3D printed bowl. Otherwise, I like it a lot. And so what's happening is, as the different contours of the bottom of the bowl, as I move around and swirl, it causes the bristles to rub against each other and change positions. And I believe that is what's causing this non-textured bowl to still generate a nice, decent lather. And indeed, any bowl that's got some curvature on the bottom that you can kind of run up against, it's going to give you that. So now, oh hey, where's my jigger? Did I put it down in my thing, or did I leave it? Let me look down and see if it's in my bag. No, it's not readily available. And so what we're going to do is just start a little dribble of water down here at the sink level, and I'll put it down there and we'll work on it for a little bit. I don't really, after all, need to know the measurement. I've consistently used this soap all month, and about 15 milliliters of water is what usually goes to get the lather where I want it. Just work it for a little bit, then let the water go in there. The nice high sides, as you can see, prevent the lather from overflowing. They are high enough. So it's really funny how this bowl is superior to like the fine accoutrements lather bowl and the Captain's Choice lather bowls, in that I don't have to work hard to keep the lather in the bowl, which I was doing so much with the fine lather bowl. I did, just to its credit, that fine lather bowl, I did find out that if I use a very small bore brush, or if I'm working up a lather with a brush that is just has minimal splay or a lot of backbone, and I rarely have those options going on, then that is the case where those bowls will actually work. Because it's really funny, I will find people on the internet who just can't believe that I don't like the Captain's Choice bowl, especially that one. I'm sure the Captain's Choice guy is a great guy, and so I'm not saying anything to the contrary about him as a person, but just that particular bowl design is not made for people like me. And there's a lot of people out there who don't apparently make as much lather as I do, or maybe they make a concentrated lather that's not very wet, so it doesn't have a problem staying in the bowl. And there we go. Still got some structure to it. As you can see, it is moving slowly down the wall, but as we've learned this month, I don't need. And again, another thing we've said all month is that was maybe 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds of loading, 10 swirls. And we've just got so much lather. All right, get my face splashed one more time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's starting to get a lighter color in the middle of the soap there. How about that? That's a new thing for me. Yeah, I don't believe the soaking here got really down. This brush is acting very different I don't know whether the soaking didn't get down or I just didn't get a good mix. I mean, could I have added too much water? Maybe. Yeah, because see, that's how it's acting. See, it's flushing the lather out. I don't think that I did a very good job of combining and making sure that all the water in the brush was mixed with soap. Yeah, see, it's just kind of pouring off. This is definitely too wet for this soap base. Now, it'll still get the job done, but we might see the razor skipping across my face because the slickness is just not quite there. Lean forward to let the blobs drop right in the sink instead of on my shirt. Most of the time. Was burning some pallets today and got a splinter in my thumb. That little wound is exactly at the right place to bother me when I'm shaving, as it turns out. And a little splash of water on my face. But because this lather is so wet, I'm going to, and I already have, dab my face a little bit with a towel so that it's not as wet. Yeah, how about that? Now, I have been shaving at my rent-a-room for the last week, and the water there is supposed to be kind of filtered or something, even coming out of the tap, and so that could be part of the difference. The formulation, hardness, and all that of the water could be coming into play here in a very noticeable way. There's that skipping I mentioned. Definitely don't want to quite take the, right around here, a slight against the grain stroke. Don't want to do that yet. I want to get more of the stubble cut down. Now, as always, if you have a lather like this that's just super wet, go back to your tub for a few seconds. And presto. And this actually needs a little bit of water. But I'm not going to bother with it since, what are we on the third pass now? And you can feel that the lather is doing the work now. The razor blade is moving more easily, it's cutting more easily. You You can tell it's doing a dampening job, helping the razor to be kinder to your skin. And there we go, third pass. Rinse. All right. Another guy I just saw recently got his blade, his single edge blade, to 100 uses, a gem PTFE, and he was inspired by and helped along by Jungilla, and I believe that's who I mentioned a few days ago. How it's very uncommon for people to hit 100 with a single edge. It's a thicker blade, and so it is a different experience, and it ages differently. I don't think I could go this far on a single edge. And there we are. Get a nice complete rinse. And the splash. Chiseled Face Midnight Stag. On the Reddit, wet shaving subreddit, where we do the challenges like Austere August and the Lather games, on Reddit you have flair that can be a bit of text beside your username. And sometimes it might say, if you're in a hobby, it might say hobbyist, or it might say vendor, because maybe you're selling people for that hobby. It could be personalized by you sometimes, but in the case of those of us who participate in Austere August, they give us different flair, little text bits, depending on our ranking in the Austere August challenges. The guys who took a boar brush from 0 uses, the first use was on August 1st, and then they kept using it until the 31st. That was called the Raw Hoggin Challenge. Yes, the Raw Hoggin Challenge. And so they got that put on their flair. And the ones for the Midnight Stag, Noble Officer of Stag was one of the first ones. And then there's Commander of Stag. And then they put the little glyphs on the end and the beginning of the flare. And so that's kind of an interesting thing that happens when you accomplish some of these things here, at least on our own sub. This is the way the brush looks after some work on the towel. Just drying him off. So I did have to go back and get some more soap. I'm really curious how it might be tomorrow, because perhaps it was the soaking that I had to do with the brush this time. It was a different type of soak, and maybe I didn't get water in there where I could have. Maybe it was I wasn't used to the bowl not doing as good of a job, and so I should have pressed harder in the bowl, get some of that soap up in the middle, because maybe when the middle was flexed a little bit on my face, as has happened a good many times in my history, it feels like that's then causing water to be released and flushing the lather away in a sense, making it just too wet. So I don't know which thing happened, and so I would be curious as to whether it's one of those things or if it is an issue with the hard water. Maybe the water right here at this location is harder than over there where I have usually been shaving. So we'll just have to play around and see if we can learn something. Midnight Stag EDP. I'm about to go to sleep, so at least I will start off with good smells in my sleep. So as you can see, it did not take very long to whip up a lather, even with an inexpensive bowl like this that you might have in your kitchen for cereal or soup or something like that. And I strongly encourage you to get that kind of a bowl first. See if you might like bowl lathering as opposed to buying something expensive and custom made and all that stuff. Unless, of course, you're just made of money. All right. That's it for today. A good little shave. Curious about the brush and the lather composition, but everything else pretty normal. The blade and the razor still working together reasonably well, comfortable, and still delivering a close enough shave. So that's it for today, and that was the 370th shave with the Nacet. 470. See, the numbers are getting so big, it's a little hard to keep track. 470th shave with the Nacet. Take care, you guys. Have a good night. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves.